Hello and welcome to the Wise Yourself Up podcast. I'm your host, Carla McGreevy, and today we have a very special guest, Yoga Lanisha. Hello, how are you? What's the crack?
I am feeling really good. The sun is shining and I'm delighted for this opportunity to chat with you today, Carla. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I'm delighted. Bear with us today, passing this mic around because my laptop broke because tech hates me. Along with two phones, I've now got now laptop's gone. And we're just back from a swim. We were at the 50 footer. Is that what you call it?
The 40 foot.
Oh, the 40 feet. I'm adding 10 feet on.
We went for a lovely little dip in the 40 foot. And what else did we do? Oh, we got a coffee.
Yeah.
And roots.
Yeah, roots. It was lovely. I'll definitely have to get an Acai.
Acai.
Oh, it's terrible. Terrible with English, so I am. For anyone who doesn't know Naoise teaches yoga and she runs Irish language. What would you call it? Yoga, which you speak Irish language in. I'm really butchering my tongue today. You explain it.
So I host events, yoga events, and I sprinkle a bit of the Irish language into them. So they can be completely Irish, but most of the time they're quite bilingual because a lot of people show up that don't have Irish. So it's like integrated into the event to inspire people to reconnect with the language in a very inclusive way.
Amazing. That was so good because I wasn't sure. Obviously, I haven't been to an event yet, but I'm definitely going to get it to work. We'll have to talk dates after this. What do you call the event again? Because I don't want to butcher the name of this.
The event's name is Tabhair Aire.
Tabhair Aire.
Yeah. Tabhair Aire is the Irish for take care. Yeah. But directly it kind of translates to give care, which I think is much nicer. Life is more about giving than taking. And Dave and I started the event because Tabhair Aire kind of symbolizes taking care of yourself. The last person usually that you look after at the end of the week when you reflect is usually yourself. You've been looking after everything else, everybody else. And then also once the Irish started being integrated into the events, we realized Tabhair Aire also kind of represents the act of taking care of the Irish language by kind of keeping it alive. So that's it.
I love that so much, and I think that's so fitting, especially for giving care to yourself, and it's just such a nicer word than taken. And when did you start so Dave's her boyfriend, for anyone who doesn't know who Dave is. When did you both start the events?
We started them last June 2024. So
yeah. I feel like they've been around forever.
I know. Actually, like July, I think. And they just kind of blew up quite quickly from the get-go. They started as free community events outdoors and they were on Sunday morning. So it was kind of like the perfect time anybody would want to go do yoga outside. 10 o'clock, good vibes all around. And we just really create a very inclusive environment where a lot of people feel comfortable whether they practice yoga or not. And then we enjoy like collaborating with different Irish facilitators. Like we had a sound bath one time or breath work and people just love it. Yeah, there's definitely an appetite for the Irish aspect as well.
And you have kept the events free then, and you have one on the day before St. Patrick's Day?
Yes. So most of the events have been free. When they're outdoors, they're free. We have one the day before St. Patrick's Day outdoors. We're very excited. And we had 2 indoor events this year, which were ticketed. So there was one in a gorgeous venue in the city centre, Windmill Lane. And then there was one in the Irish Museum of Modern Art. So one of the staff members who works in the Irish Museum of Modern Art reached out to me before Christmas and asked if we would offer Tabhair Aire to the IMA members as part of one of their annual events. And then we were also able to extend the invitation to our own community. So that was huge to be in such a historic space. It was the Great Hall. It would just been like, I think, refurbished or renovated. And it was just incredible being in there hosting something that is so related to Irish history in a room that's like hundreds of years old. I don't know. I should know how old, but I don't. But you could feel that energy in the room. It was like, whoa, like we're doing this here,
I just saw the event online and the room looks stunning. It was so beautiful. And this podcast goes out on Wednesday, next Wednesday, so a few days before your event. So can people still sign up or what's the crack? Anisha's based in Dublin. I should probably add that in.
Yes, I'm based in Dublin. The event happens in a gorgeous space, Dunleary Baths. Currently, like, it's a free event, and Eventbrite lets me release 250 free tickets. And so far, there's already like 160 which have been like not bought, but reserved. And that's only been a day. So hopefully, there'll still be a few spaces. I'm not too sure. And then maybe I can open up more. Yeah. It's going to be a big crowd of people, I think. So
Well, it's funny because I asked on Instagram the community I have there about St. Patrick's Day and whether they liked it. And what was funny was it was most of the community said it was didn't like it because of the drinking element of St. Patrick's Day. So this is a great way to celebrate St. Patrick's Day and be with loads of other Irish people. So I think people from Belfast should go travel down to you.
I 100% think people from Belfast should have a big day out and come down to Dublin. Dunleary is also a gorgeous place and there's lots to do in the area. But yeah, I recently decided, do you know what? It'd be so nice to do on Paddy's Day. And I said it to Dave and I was like, I don't know if people will be up for it. And he was like, no, like Naoise, times have changed. Put up a poll on your Instagram story. And I did. And I was like, would people go to a Tabhair Aire event? Really wholesome, good vibes. Or like, you know, they might want to go into the parade and drink pints. Yeah. And like over 100 people voted straight away, like Tabhair Aire, and about 12 people said pints in the parade. 2 of them were my siblings. So I was like, right, Tabhair Aire it is. Yeah, times have changed.
Definitely. And I think you can do both. That's what we were talking about, right? When me and Naoise went for a dip, we were saying about balance. You know, wouldn't it be great to go do some yoga? Naoise also offers a wee dip in the ocean after, and then pints after. That'd be my perfect St. Paddy's Day.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, I think a Guinness in the sun, like yoga, a swim, a Guinness, sunshine. It's a perfect day out for me. And yeah, the balance is great, and you'll enjoy the pint more if you've like moved your body a bit.
Yeah. And so let's go back. You started yoga quite young at 15, right? How did that come about, or why were you into yoga? Oh, because you played Gaelic sport?
Not even because I played Gaelic. My first yoga class was when I was 15 years old. I went with my mom. She was practicing at the time more for the physical benefits. And then I went along with her. And I was I'm quite competitive in terms of sports. Like I love sport. But I remember when I was younger, I went to that yoga class and I just felt I was very intrigued by the physical postures and just being on my mat and like moving into all these places of discomfort and how like there was no competition in the room. I was just on my own little journey of discomfort and opening and everything. And then I just felt so grounded and everything my yoga teacher was saying just felt so inspiring. I really resonated with like how the space was. And ever since that day, it's just been a practice in my life that's inspired me and evolved with different phases of my life. So yeah.
Oh wow! So you got into it young, whereas I didn't. I was a heathen, wee brat when it came to yoga. And so, what made you then? You practice your yoga teacher training course in 2020. Was it lockdown that forced your hand with that, or what happened?
Yeah, so basically, I did a degree. I completed my degree in sports science and health, and in my first year of doing that degree, I kind of knew I always wanted to be a yoga teacher. Uh-huh. But I think my parents, and like a lot of parents in Ireland, it's like get your degree. And like back then, being a yoga teacher, I don't think it was a profession that many people aspired to be. And I think my parents were even kind of like, you're more than a yoga teacher. Because it looked like, I don't know, do you know? And I was like, I just always felt it in my gut. Like I'm really inspired by this lifestyle. And then in my third year of college, I was meant to go to South Africa. That got completely put on hold because that's when the pandemic happened. And I had some savings and I had 3 months of basically was meant to be in South Africa for my degree. I couldn't go. I had some savings. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do an online yoga teacher training. And I said to my parents, like, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to invest this money in. And for the next 8 months, it was like probably the most transformative time in my life. I would like do these yoga classes online every morning, every evening, study, train by myself. It was so introspective. And then I had my qualification 8 months later and I started teaching straight away, did my final year of college and continued teaching and never really looked back.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And was all your course online then?
Yes. So my 200-hour training was online. And I think with online yoga teacher trainings, it's what you put in, you get back. And I definitely put in a lot.
I'm sorry, did you have to record yourself a lot then? That's good practice for today's world.
100%. I did record myself and I had to submit recordings of me teaching and stuff like that. And then, but I was so excited. So I taught then full time for 2 years. And then I went to Mexico and I did my advanced yoga teacher training. And that was just an amazing immersive experience.
So you did your 300 hours across a month in Mexico?
Yeah, I think it was about 5 weeks and I camped in a desert. It was a place called Yandara Yoga Institute.
I read on I was stalking your website, doing my research, being a good podcaster.
Yeah, oh God, I'm embarrassed that you looked at my website. It's like really bad. I hate when people look at my website. I'm like, no.
No, it's lovely. I think you come across just like you. I think it's good.
Thank you. But yeah, that's my journey with kind of how I got into yoga and where my training took me. And yeah.
And your 300R, was that like vinyasa or what type of training was it?
Yeah, it was vinyasa, it was hatha, there was yin. It was extremely energetic, very heart centered, a lot to do with the subtle aspects of yoga, the chakras. That's where the magic is in yoga. It's not the physical, really. That's that what looks very attractive on the outside, but it's what goes beneath that. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And you're running the events, you're running your retreats also. When's your next retreat?
My next retreats are happening in April. I'm hosting 2 back-to-back retreats in Mallorca. So that's coming up very soon. And then we will have 2 more retreats next October in Portugal. Yeah. And our Portugal venue is absolutely stunning. There's like a sauna and a jacuzzi and like an ice bath. It's really, really nice.
I really want to do a retreat away. I'm just not organised enough is my problem. I have a retreat in Donegal on summer solstice. So this house, Sandhill House, which is so beautiful. There's view of the beach. It's Friday to Sunday. So yeah, I've been running there for years. Well, since 2020, around then.
Wow.
Yeah. So I want to go back because we have been chatting away and the listeners I think would really appreciate you sharing about your PCOS story if you were happy to share about that.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that question, but I'm really happy to share about it. So I call it PCOS, you call it PCOS. But yeah, when I was in my early 20s, probably like 2021, I got diagnosed with PCOS. But before that, like my cycle has never been regular. And I was on the pill then for years. And then at one stage I came off the pill and I was like, because I didn't have a boyfriend or anything. And I was like, I just don't want to be on the pill. I want to get my natural cycle back. But of course it didn't come back. It was very irregular. And I had a very rare symptom of PCOS that no GP or doctor or anyone could understand. But I would usually people with PCOS only bleed like 3 times a year or like very rarely, whereas I was bleeding every 12 days and I was losing so much just energy from my body, and then my skin was breaking out. And this was like in the early years of college when you're also just like cramming for exams, you're drinking, you're partying, you're not sleeping much. I was so stressed and all this stuff, and it would just like my cycle was just, I was so disconnected from myself. I felt awful. My mom started studying nutritional therapy at the time, and she was learning so much about like forms of managing symptoms and alternative ways of healing. And I remember I went to a gynecologist, and I'll never forget this. I went to the gynecologist and she was like, okay, Naoise, look, you're going to go on Dianet. It's the strongest contraceptive pill there is, and you're only meant to be on it for a year because of the negative symptoms. And I was like, look, but what about next year? What will I do next year?
And how old were you with this stage?
I could have been 22.
Fair play to you being that strong in yourself by being, no.
Yeah, no, I said to her, I was feeling so lost. And I was like, look, but if I go on Dianet, what about next year? Like, what if one day I do want to have a baby? But like, why would I just put a plaster over this problem? And she was like, look, you don't want to get pregnant. You want your skin to clear up, just go on this pill. And then I said to her, well, my mom's studying nutritional therapy. I think there's other ways that I can actually balance my hormones. And I said to her, I think it's just a hormonal imbalance. And back then, people weren't really talking about things like that. And she laughed in my face and was like, a hormonal imbalance. And I was like, yeah, my hormones are out of balance, which they were. And she just laughed, and I was like, look, I think I'm going to cut out like white carbohydrates. And I think I'm just going to really try to focus on my sleep. And I was just listing all the things I wanted to really work on. And she just laughed and she was like, you can try if you want. And I remember just leaving, and I just felt so disempowered buy that. And, you pay like them like 500 quid to see those gynecologists.
Yeah, down south, it's incredible money. But also, when you're that young, most people, obviously, you'd started your journey in terms of learning about your body, but most people would just take that as gospel and just accepted it, and that been their fate.
Yeah. And I think the reason why I didn't want to accept it is because I knew I was a very healthy person in general. I was aware of health. I knew I had like, I was young. I was just like, no, like, I'm not going to let someone tell me that this, like, I have no control here. Like, I just had this inherent belief, like, I'm in control of my health. And like, it just felt so wrong to me that I wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
And I think because my mom was studying nutritional therapy, her world was opening so much, and she was always sharing everything she was learning with all of us. So that definitely had a huge knock-on effect. And then since that age, I've really tried so many different things. I was trying medicinal mushrooms, like I would increase my dose of omega-3, vitamin D, focus on sleep, cut out alcohol a bit, because that's really affects your liver. And when you have PCOS, your liver is working extra hard to break down excess estrogen or testosterone. And when you drink, basically, all your liver can do is focus on breaking down alcohol. So when you have PCOS, that means it's just everything's out of whack then, because your liver can't do it all. So it's been a huge journey that's lasted a few years. And even at one point, I had to get surgery on my ovary and get part of it removed.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in here. What age were you? And this story is incredible. What age were you when you had the surgery?
So I'm 26 now.
You said 3 years ago, right?
Yeah, I could have been around 23. I got back from Mexico from doing my advanced yoga teacher training. And it was a month after I got this huge, sharp, awful pain where like I was screaming out in agony. And basically what they think happened was that I had an ovarian torsion.
What does that mean?
It's basically like where you might have a cyst on your ovary and it gets so heavy. And I hope, like, trigger warning for anyone who's sensitive, but basically because of a cyst in your ovary or inflammation, it twists on itself.
Okay.
And my body had never been in so much agony my whole life. And I went into the hospital and loads of doctors were questioning me and asking me, are you on the pill? And once they found out I had PCOS, they were like, well, you should be on the pill. And I was like, well, the pill doesn't suit me. And they were making me feel really bad, like almost making me feel like the reason my ovary was having this issue was because I wasn't on the pill.
Also, hold on, the pill has been developed for all of 40 years and we don't even know the effect that it has on women like that. But this is the answer. I'm not saying, like, no judgment on anybody who's on it, but that's ridiculous that they think that's gospel to force on you.
Oh my God, 100. Like, I completely agree with you. Couldn't agree more. And I think you should never force anyone to take something when they feel like it's not aligned with them. But so then I was in this extreme agony. Doctors were asking me, why aren't you on the pill? And then I think at the end of the day, I met a consultant from Australia. He was a man, and he's the first doctor I'd ever encountered in my life who listened to me. And I was like, I bet you're going to ask me why I'm not on the pill. This is why my ovary is doing this. And he was like, I would never suggest a patient to ever take anything that doesn't feel right to them. And I said to him, do you know what? I think it's something to do with my ovary releasing toxins from being on the pill for years. I think this is what this is all about. I don't know, like maybe it sounded woo-woo, maybe it didn't, but he listened and he goes, if that's what you feel, maybe that's it. And that's all I needed to hear, just to be heard. And he sent me home and I got better. And then months later, I got another scan and they were like, there's a cyst in your ovary the size of a mango. And
that must have been so frightening for you, though, and you're only a wee baby.
Yeah, so they were like, there's a huge cyst in your ovary, you need to get it removed. Are you in pain? And I was like, I'm in no pain whatsoever. I was like, I thought this problem was gone. I thought it was resolved. And they're like, no. And I was like, well, I do a lot of yoga. Maybe it's all the twists. It just like keeps it. And anyway, went in to get the surgery. Then months after that, I think it was called laparoscopy.
And did you feel different after? Did you feel the weight being removed of the mango, or was there any internal sensation of that?
No, it was really weird because our ovaries are meant to be the size of an almond. So when they told me my ovary was the size of a mango, I was literally like, or a cyst was in there. I was like, how is that possible?
a mango attached to an almond.
Yeah, no, literally. And then I went in. Oh yeah, and they all thought I was this crazy yoga teacher because I would call before my surgery. I would call them up and I was like, "Please don't remove my ovary. Like, please just focus on the cyst. Don't just really don't just remove my ovary." And so when I went in, they're like, "Oh, you're the yoga teacher, or whatever." And I was like, "What does that have to do with anything? I just care about my organs." And I got the surgery.
You dirty butchers trying to steal them all.
And after the surgery, they actually found out there was no cyst. It was my ovary. My ovary was really inflamed. Sorry, this is a bit of a complicated story, but anyway, they had to remove a quarter of it, or if not more. And I was like, what is this? Is this anything to do with my PCOS? And they were like, we don't know. Like, to be honest, they don't really have answers for these things. And anyway, I went on another healing journey with my ovary. And 8 months later, I got a scan and it was fully grown back.
That is incredible, Nisha. I nearly died when she told me this morning. And can you tell us a wee bit more about what that healing journey looked like with your ovary?
Yeah, I think the healing journey with my ovary was very related to the healing journey I was already on of just like tuning inward, connecting with my body, and bringing more awareness to how important it is to rest and not push all the time and just relax and do more yin kind of activities, slow down more. I think I'm someone who strives and works hard and loves everything about life. Like, I would be busy 24/7 if I could. But we're women and we're cyclical and we need to tune into the moments of our cycles when we're meant to be slow and rest.
Yeah, and I think too, this world seduces us into that busyness, right? And it's a real act of rebellion to go slower, and it brings up so much conditioning that has been put upon us about moving fast, and especially when you love life too, it is hard, right? You want to do it all, and learning our limits in a world that tells us we're limitless is a hard pill to swallow. But more importantly, I want the listeners to know this. What did the hospital say to you when you said told them that you grew back your ovary, or when they realized this?
Yeah, they seemed pretty surprised. So they called me. I got a call and they're like, we have your scan back because they did a scan a few months after the surgery to see how the progress was or if there was any. And I'll never forget the day they were like, Nisha, it fully grew back. And like, I called my mom straight away. I was like, my ovaries, like, it's back again. Like, I was so happy. And I told a story at Shanakia about how I regrew my ovary.
That
Yeah,
is so good.
the theme for the Shanakia, it's a storytelling event. It was possibilities, and it was actually all through Irish. So my story was all about the possibilities that lie beyond modern medicine and what it tells you and what it limits you. And my healing journey also involves like I painted a photo of an ovary, and one of the ovaries had like, it was like a plant because it was growing back, and I actually have it. I brought it to the Shanakia event and I showed everyone, and that was like part of the healing journey, just manifesting that it was growing. And obviously, there's like, I looked after my sleep and nutrients and all those things too, but a lot of it is energetic. And
Yeah, and I think it's even, I'm a big believer in the fact that you would have put your hand in that area and you were really focused on that part of your body where we're so unaware of our ovaries and the pineal gland and our adrenal glands and all these vital parts of the body. If it's not in our awareness, how can it have its full power? If it's just lying in our unconscious, which most of our bodies are. And I think more and more body work, and you're really driving your attention to that part of the body and really loving yourself, literally worked miracles.
yeah, I completely resonate with that. Like, I remember when I was trying to heal the ovaries or ovary, I would put my hands down like on my lower stomach and close my eyes and just try to imagine them in my body, what they look like, how they're doing, like almost try to talk to them. And it's like, yeah, we have ovaries, we have a womb, and it's such a sacred space. And women, we don't talk about it. Like, there used to be women's circles, and if I lived hundreds of years ago, I would definitely be called a witch.
Yeah.
Do you know? Like, women, like, we are so powerful when we connect with that part of ourselves and our cycles, and helps us live intuitively, and there's so much power to it. And it's just crazy that in like traditional education systems, when girls get their period, I went to a mixed school, it's like you hide your tampon up your sleeve, you don't talk about it, you're ashamed. And when there's PE, you don't tell anyone you're on your period. You're just kind of like, oh, like you feel like just,
Yeah, there's so much shame, especially if you're around boys. It must have been so hard for you.
Yeah, definitely. But actually, when a girl's in her period, like it should be the most normal thing in the world, and she should be given extra space and extra care. And like, yeah,
And when you had your period, if you, what age were you? And do you remember celebrating it, or what was your reaction, or what happened?
I remember I was really like, I was 16.
Oh
Yeah,
wow!
yeah, yeah. I didn't get mine for ages. I think it's because I was such an active child. Like, I just, my body wasn't ready for it. And I used to pretend. I remember when all the girls in school would talk about their periods, I'd be like, yeah, same.
Bless you. That's letting on. Yeah, me too. Me too.
But no, like, sorry, going back to being in a mixed school, guys were so cruel. I remember I was called pancake tits or something before. There, oh no, not even. It was like, oh, Nisha's pancakes, and like I hadn't got my period yet, so I already knew I was not at the same development as all the other girls my age. And someone said that, and I was honestly like, I don't think I've ever been more mortified in my life. And the guy just he said it, and then he forgot about it, and I was like,
Yeah, and I hear those stories. I was lucky. Well, I don't know if it was lucky, but I went to an all girls school. But those comments from the opposite sex, they never leave you.
no, God, no. Like, I'm definitely not insecure about having small boobs, thank God. But back
I
then,
love small boobs. I wish I had smaller boobs. They're so perky. They're much better.
yeah, I'm grateful because I'm very like being active. I think it's great. But no, this year is the first year where I've actually genuinely been like, I would love to have big boobs for a few days. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think I'd feel so sexy. I just want to try them out, but I'll never. I don't know.
I think as you always wanted, you can't have. Like I always wanted curly hair, and like my mummy has curly hair, my aunts, and my hair's bone straight. I think it's just always, the curiosity, right?
Yeah, 100% curiosity. I feel like if my boobs ever grew, I would be wearing like low tops. I'd be like,
You'd be so melted by them. You'd be like, these boobs are in my way. Like everything just turns into. They're so hard to disguise.
yeah, and that I also think it's like because women's bodies are sexualized. I was talking to a girl
Mm-hmm.
about this recently. She has really big boobs in a small frame, and she was like, Nisha, anytime I'm not wearing a baggy t-shirt or a baggy jumper, I'm wearing a statement piece basically because of my boobs. And she was like, it's so annoying.
Yeah, they're just hard to dress, and sometimes you look like you are so sexy, and you're like, I just want to wear a t-shirt. Well, no, I don't have this problem. Just talking about people who do have big boobs.
And then if I have small boobs, so we're like my friends with big boobs wearing like outfits going out, I'm like, oh my God, they look amazing. Like I feel like they just look so well on them. And yeah.
But do you have the gift of not needing to wear a bra and being perky?
Yes, that's true. I never wear bras and I can wear backless tops. And I think, yeah, you can kind of wear cute little tops and stuff. It's nice.
Yeah, but she wouldn't get her nipples out for the podcast today. She changed her top off. And I was like, I'm sure they won't mind your nipples being on the podcast, but they weren't allowed to come.
People might be a bit confused, but we went for a sea swim. So
Yeah, it was so gorgeous. And how did you get into the Irish language? That's what I wanted to ask you.
So I went to an Irish primary school.
Of course, I forget I'm in the Republic.
I went to an Irish primary school and secondary school. My two parents speak Irish.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's always been part of my life. I'm really, really lucky, I think.
That's amazing. And there's been a big resurgence with kneecap, and then you've been offering the Irish language through yoga, which is amazing to see. Shanna Key's involved in elements to it, and I think they're even doing different languages, isn't that right?
I actually haven't heard if they're doing different languages. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think they were planning on like offering it with people want to speak in Spanish or like doing different, because they've honoured the Irish language, right? So I think I think I read that somewhere. Could make it up.
There has been such a big resurgence in the Irish language, and it's just amazing to see and to feel. And I think the energy around the language is starting to change. There's an amazing podcast called How to Gael, and it's by three girls host it. They live in Dublin, and one of them, Doireann Ní Ghlacán, they're all, I think, presenters on TG Cahir. And there was an article, I know Doireann, she went to my primary school, and I read an article about her in the Irish Times recently, and she was just saying how, as Irish people, it's so important for us to kind of understand our identity by understanding our relationship with our language. And I think the relationship so many Irish people have with the Irish language is so complicated. Like, even though I went to an Irish school when I was younger, there was years of my life where like I was embarrassed to speak it outside the school. Like it wasn't a cool thing, and there was so much shame around it.
I cannot believe that, really?
Yeah, 100%. Like we speak it in school, and then like it wasn't cool to be speaking Irish outside school. Like, and that was like a tool that our oppressors used against the Irish nation is to make any of the Gaelgori feel ashamed and like they were like lower class to be speaking the language.
Just as you said that, that's what energy I could just feel on. It's like the peasant language, right?
But actually it's like the most beautiful language, and it connects us with our ancestors and our history and how they saw Ireland and how they saw the world, and like the words are so descriptive, and there's phrases that you'd never be able to translate to English.
It's so romantic and poetic, and Ireland is like that in general. Irish culture, Irish language.
Yeah, we have such a rich culture, and I think that's the special thing about this country. Like we all complain so much,
Yeah.
but like there's reasons why we all come back home as well. Like,
And we're always ranting and raving about being Irish.
we all get so patriotic. Like, I don't know, I haven't met another like nation that is as patriotic as Irish people. Have you?
I know, and we fairly get about. There's like squads of us everywhere you go.
I know. And as soon as you connect with an Irish person anywhere abroad, it's like straight away you feel like, let's be friends. Like, yeah, it's really nice.
On that topic, I am dying to learn the Irish language. So I grew up in Belfast, and in primary school we didn't learn Irish. I remember us saying our prayers in Irish. I went to all girls primary school, all girls grammar school, and in the grammar school in St Dominic's, you learned French. French was, what do you call that, compulsory for some reason. And I wish I had learned Irish. I picked Spanish. And again, I remember thinking at the time, what's more useful for life, which is a sad thing.
Yeah.
And at the time, Irish language wasn't valued as what I like to think it is now. But in primary school, and now looking back, I wonder, were they having a lesbian love affair? My P3 teacher used to give me messages in Irish, right? Like tell me a message in Irish, and I used to have to go and run to her friend, the other teacher, and repeat the message. And that's my only experience of the Irish language. So I was really good at it at 3, repeating messages. But my point of this was, I want to find someone in London who'll teach me Irish. It's so hard to get Irish. Or should I do have you heard anything about the Irish with Molly course?
It's actually so funny you bring up Irish with Molly. She recently texted me to be on her podcast soon. Yeah, she's amazing. I actually don't know, but I think she's amazing at what she does. She is giving that impression. But yeah, I think learning Irish in London, I do know a girl that did one of Irish with Molly's course, and she really, really enjoyed it.
Okay, so I think I could do that. What I'm hoping for, because hopefully you'll track a few Irish speakers, surely there's someone in London who wants to earn a few bob. We'll all meet in the park, the pub, whatever. We'll get to have the crack, learn the line. It would be so nice.
I think that's a really, really nice idea. I don't like, there has to be other circles doing it, but if not, start your own circle.
Well, but the problem that I don't speak Irish.
Okay, so what we're looking for is you to find a teacher
Yes.
to come to your circle.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it can be done.
Yeah, you can help me recruit. This is an advertisement for an Irish teacher in London. Come and help us out.
Help us out. So did you learn Irish until you were 3 years old? Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't learn it at all. I just was taught to bless myself Persian Irish just because my teacher happened to be an Irish speaker, but that was just by chance. So if I had had another teacher who didn't teach us Irish, she didn't have to. And then when I used to have to do messages for, remember, getting sent on messages in primary school, she used to give me them in Irish. And now I'm thinking, was she having an affair or something? Because why was she telling them in a different language that I didn't understand?
That's so funny.
Isn't it?
It's so funny when you're a grown up and you reflect back on something another grown up was doing. You're like, I think I understand them now.
Yeah, and I sort of love that. And I think trauma robbed me of my tongue. With language, with trauma, the left-hand side of the brain gets shut down, and people find it so difficult to put in words. And I think it just would be very healing, I think, for loads of reasons. And I think I've always told myself the story of, oh, you're not good at speaking and all that crack. And I've been saying for so long about learning Irish, and if I don't learn it this year, I'm a joke.
Yeah, it would probably be really empowering. And you would really enjoy the process as well. I think.
Do you think so? I think I'll be throwing myself out windows with frustration.
Do you know what? I think learning a language is probably one of the most difficult things. I just feel so lucky that I learned it from such a young age, so I don't even remember learning it
Mm-hmm.
because I would love to learn Spanish, but I'm really intimidated by learning a new language. So it probably, do you know?
Have you tried any Spanish yet?
No, I keep telling myself I would love, next time I ever travel South America, I want to have a bit more Spanish under my belt.
Wait to hear what happened to me. So I had GCSE Spanish, so I could tell you I had three brothers and all these like small talk. I was okay. And then I went traveling around South America when I was 30 for 4 months. And being Spanish is different from South American Spanish. And I wanted to pick somewhere up. And we decided to go to Spanish school for 2 weeks. I was livid that I wasn't fluent within 2 weeks. And this is the problem. It's you have to literally go and live in that country for a year to learn the language, I feel.
Yeah, yeah. And that takes a lot of time. It's like, can you make that commitment? But I think learning a few Irish phrases is just, it's nice to know your own, a few phrases of your own
So,
language.
what is good night in Irish?
You can say Ihawa or Kulasov.
Iowa?
Ihawa and then Kulasov is sleep tight.
Oh, do you listen to my therapist ghost at me?
No, but I've heard of it. I
Uh,
should I?
yeah, it's so good. Iowa was the only thing that they could say.
Oh. Ihawa is a really nice soft phrase. I
Mm.
really like it. But let me try to think of something else for you.
Oh, I know Irish dog commands, right? So I used to live with a dog that spoke Gaelic. So I know fan, which is wait, Tussa, give me that, and BQ.
BQ. Nice. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Let me try to think of a phrase for you. There's loads of nice shanuckle. Have you heard of shanuckle? For some reason, I can't think of the translation in English for shanuckle, but I guess
Shanuckle?
shanuckle, it's like old words, and there's loads of different ones. Two of my favorite ones that come to mind are Ska Kayla Varmich.
Erska, Kayla,
A Varmich.
Avarmish. That's
Yeah.
hard to...
And it basically directly translates to in each other's shelter we survive. And I think I kind of see it as like we're all interconnected and we need each other to thrive. Recently at a 2 hour event that was written on one of our little pages that had a few questions on it, and just how like it's so important to recognize that we're like social beings and we rely on each other.
Yeah.
We depend on each other. And then another one that I really love, it's being shulach scalach, or antea being shulach being scalach, which means the one who travels has stories to tell. And I think,
Aw.
yeah, you've traveled a lot, so
Yeah, but I haven't traveled around my own back door. I haven't been to Berlin, Amsterdam, Paris, nowhere in barely anywhere in Europe.
oh, I'm surprised you haven't been to Berlin. I feel like you'd be a bit of a Berlin raver.
I know I have so there was a big crowd of us lived in London like 10 years ago, and about 10 of them all left at the one time and all live in Berlin. I'm probably too afraid to go is my problem.
I know. I think Berlin can also be a bit of a dark hole. It like sucks you in.
Have you been?
Yeah, my sister lived there for like a year before, and I would visit her and have so much fun. I thought it was such a cool city. It was just like city for everybody.
Have you been to Berghain?
I have indeed. And Sisyphus. I really liked Sisyphus. I had a lot of fun. Like it's great. It's like nowhere you'd ever experience in Ireland. You don't use your phone. You're not allowed to use your phone. The nightlife culture is just like something I'd never experienced before. It was really cool.
Yeah, I am. I'm dying to go. I need to go. I have to go. But all my friends are getting married this year and 40th, so I'm booked. I'm booked and busy at the minute.
Yeah, booked out for the 40th. Fair enough. It will happen.
What's your summer plans?
I don't make many summer plans because that's usually when my work as a yoga teacher is quite fruitful. I usually make like a travel plan for the end of the year, to be honest. So my summer, in terms of travel, yeah, minimal. I'll go to Kerry with my family. But in terms of teaching and stuff, I'll be hosting events. I am going to be at Wellfest in May, which is exciting. Hopefully I might be teaching at Electric Picnic. Who knows if they'll ask me again. Yeah, and just doing lots of 2 hour events and having fun.
Yeah, that's great. I'm hoping to be at those festivals too. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. It's so much fun working at the festivals, and it's so amazing how many people are into wellness along with partying now.
I think it's incredible. And
Mm.
I feel like in Ireland especially, it's a huge thing right now. Like Wellfest is the biggest health and wellness festival in Europe.
For anyone who hasn't been to Belfast yet, every year the sun is shining. For some reason, they are blessed by the gods. And last year, I think it was their biggest year yet, was it? Was there 10,000 people there? And I just remember having this moment of looking out in the field and there's 10,000 people doing burpees on a Sunday morning. And I was like, Ireland is a changed country.
Yeah, I had the same thoughts. It makes me really proud of our country, and I even feel like the music scene and the art scene is like really really great right now. Maybe it's always been, maybe I'm just getting older. I don't really know, but it's a feeling I have. So, and also like being in it and being part of it is definitely really exciting. And yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that's so exciting. So your St. Patrick's Day plans are running your event, anything else?
Yeah, so the event is going to be on the 16th in Dunleary. I also might have an event on in Lululemon on Grafton Street. Yeah, I had a meeting with my store managers today because I'm the Lululemon ambassador, one of the yoga ambassadors in Ireland. And they were just asking me today if I'd be interested in doing something in the store. So potentially I have another event that day.
Oh, so you're booked and busy, booked and busy. Will you have a pint or go out? Probably not if you're working.
I think I will. I love just having like a pint or two and then just enjoying one or two and getting up early again. I just like you said, I really believe in balance. And yeah, I don't know if I wouldn't be up drinking late at night if I had an early class in the morning.
No.
I can't remember the last time I've ever taught hungover. I don't think I would do that.
Well, we were talking. I did it an electric picnic, but I did it. I did it.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like you got through it. And I feel like at a festival, everyone's kind of feeling it together. So as a teacher, it's okay, like it's nice. But yeah, I'll be enjoying myself on Paddy's weekend.
Whereas I'll be post surgery, friggin' in a bloody cast, which isn't great.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to it. But I'll be able to breathe better, so it'll be worth it. But
Definitely.
CBA, but that's my St. Paddy's Day plans. But I've been on the waiting list for 10 years, so just have to take it as it comes.
10 years, that's what it takes in this country.
I nearly died when they rang me. I was like, I just thought it was forgotten about. I was like, didn't think I needed it anymore.
Wow. So is that surgery on Paddy's Day or you'll be recovering?
No, it's this Saturday and it means I can't train for a month. So sad times ahead.
So what do you think you're going to replace the training with?
Probably being organised and planning and probably walking more and more restorative. I probably can do yin, right? Well, probably 2 weeks after. So I'll probably really enjoy the space and the time because movement does take up a big part of my life because I love it so much.
I know. I'm the exact same. Like I can never stick with one form of training either. Like you'll catch me like sprinting and me like sprinting is the best. Or like then I'll start cycling and I'm like, whoa. Or like even yoga, just, there's so many different ways to move our bodies. It's like there's never enough time for it all.
So what is your training? What is your mixed movement thing at the minute?
At the moment, I am strength training in the gym.
I saw that. Was it your partner who got you into strength training? I've seen some of your reels about it.
Yeah, he definitely got me into the routine of like giving myself time to go to the gym every day. I never did that before. Like I actually played Gaelic football my whole life. So I've always been like a big cardio bunny, but like never consciously, like I was training 3 times a week up until 2 years ago. I stopped training with Gaelic football because honestly, you get injured and it wasn't worth it for my body because I use my body to work and teach. So I miss it so much. But then, I got into the gym training in the past 2 years and my yoga practice, I walk, I'm dipping back into running a bit. I really want to get back to acro yoga. Do you know acro yoga?
I have got into soft acro, in London, with Cameron and CJ. But acro yoga is basically partner yoga, right?
Yes. So partner yoga can be quite restorative and you're just supporting each other's bodies like it's a regular yoga class, but acro yoga is short for acrobat yoga. So it's like a little bit more thrilling and you might be like upside down and you might be in the air and there's a base, there's a flyer, there's a spotter. And to be honest, I think it's the thing I love the most in the world.
Do you not get so I met some circus people and in Bali and they were all like, let's go to the gym, and they only wanted me to throw me about. Basically that must be what happened to you. You're the girl that gets thrown about.
Yeah, you were the flyer. You were the flyer. I love being the flyer. It's so fun.
It's a lot of trust.
Oh yeah, Acro is a big game of trust. And the reason why I think Acro is such an amazing movement form for anybody, because there's beginner Acro and there's, Acro for advanced people, is because there's so much connection involved, and so much connection because you have to trust people, and there's such a community aspect, and then you're connecting with your inner child so much. It's just really playful.
Yeah, it's actually really recommended for people with a history of sexual trauma too, because you are learning that people are safe again, and obviously with your permission you're getting people's touch again, and it can be really powerful practice that way. So it's really encouraged if any of the listeners are working through something like that. And yeah, it's a big game of trust, and sometimes my legs just spin out and kick them. I'm like, I'm sorry, it's your body does its own thing.
Definitely great if you are trying to heal trauma. I remember I went to an Acro yoga festival in Amsterdam or Holland a few years ago by myself, and they had a whole workshop actually based on that. It was really nice. And yeah, this festival was mad actually. Like, we stayed in tents, and there was they rented out a big hall. You had your meals 3 times a day. And then, like, I thought I was passionate about Acro. I was around people that like were 10 times more passionate than me, and they were training like the whole 12 hours, and then they would sleep and get up early and do it again. And I was like, whoa.
Where are you practicing Acro? And like, how many times you book your training? Are you practicing in Dublin or?
Yes, there's a Acro yoga community in Dublin, in Charlemont. Is there one in Belfast?
Yeah, there is. Lou teaches it. She's just opened her own studio called Forza. So they do a lot of partner stuff, and they go to the big. There's an Irish festival. Have you been to that? They go to that.
The Irish Acro Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's actually happening at the end of May this year in Cork.
Yeah, they went last. I've just seen them post about it.
I haven't been to it yet. I was going to go last summer. They wanted me to like facilitate the Kaylee because they knew I had Irish. I was like, look, I can't direct a Kaylee, like, but I don't practice Acro. Like, I haven't practiced it in months, but it's like, because I haven't made the space in my life to, but I know, I keep telling myself, if I do make the space, it's going to change my life, because I know it's the thing that makes me the happiest.
Yeah, I feel like I got a bit mixed movement at the minute. If not, it takes ages for anything to sort of stick or imprint, but after I feel so high.
Yeah, and I think the key to like happiness is filling up your life and your days with the things that do make you feel like that, the most alive. So it's just a matter of actually doing that. And what stops you from doing it?
It's time, because with skill work, you're talking 2 hours. By the time you warm up, by the time you drill, like, it's easy 2 hours. Like, I think with skill work, you're not getting a session done in an hour, and it's work commitments. But I feel like I do try and prioritize it. But when you love something that's never enough, you're always like, and then your body's sore, and you know what I mean? Wow. It's so hard, isn't it, with skill?
Wait, what is that? What does that involve? Is that the video you put up recently and you're doing this really cool flow?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unreal. I really want you to teach that flow to me.
Yeah, I'll teach it. We'll play. Definitely. Because it's like movement to movement, it's very meditative.
So like more than vinyasa?
Yeah, well, it depends, because vinyasa can be fast, but not a lot of teachers teach fast. And there is a benefit to marinating in a pose, absolutely. But my favorite sequence in vinyasa is when a teacher teaches like 6 poses and you just make it as fluid as possible, and then put your own sort of personality on it.
Yeah, I think you'd actually really enjoy my techno yoga events.
Yeah. when is the next one? I'm definitely gonna come to. I need to learn the word of this Irish event. Teach me it again.
Tabhair Aire.
Tabhair Aire. I'm definitely going to go to a Tabhair Aire event. Yes. I am back and forth for various different hens and weddings. Are you going to Charlie XCX in Belfast?
No, sadly not. Maybe I should.
You should. Yeah, someone give her a ticket. Yeah, so I'm back for that as well. And so hopefully I'll get to some events.
Yeah, I think techno yoga is a very different vibe to Tabhair Aire. It's like this whole experience where there's a DJ, there's a live DJ.
Oh, gee, I didn't know you had a live DJ.
Yeah, I loved, not always, but I do love to work with a live DJ. I think especially the current guy I'm working with, Joseph, like he really gets it. Like he's just really embodied, and like he's not just a DJ, he's also like quite a space holder. Like he's really feeling like on the journey with me as I guide the experience, and I can really feel that. Also Gareth, who I've worked with before, was amazing, but yeah, it's like this whole, like I like to have the dim lights and the music, and it's kind of the build up to the peak, and the peak is the techno. And like I really challenge people to their limits, but they don't even realize it until they're there, because it's like this journey, this build
Yeah.
up.
Oh, see, yeah, that's my style of a class. I don't like to do like a million poses in a class. I like to do like a certain sequence and repeat it, and add on, add on.
Yeah, it's a ladder flow. And I
Yeah,
think,
that is.
yeah, ladder flows are amazing for when you know that there's going to be like advanced and beginners, because
Mhm.
by the fifth time you're repeating that ladder flow, the beginners are they're gonna somewhat have an idea of how to do some of the poses and feel pretty good about themselves, which is good.
And I think that's the most important thing about, especially if you're starting your yoga journey, is repeating the flow, and then you're like, yes, I've mastered it, and you feel class about yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And at my events as well, I do create this atmosphere that's quite playful. And when people fall out of poses, I'm like, make sure you laugh at yourself. You know, like we take ourselves so seriously. We don't need to take ourselves seriously when we're on the yoga mat.
I can't imagine the Irish audience, not laughing, but
Yeah. I don't know. Like, you know yourself when you're teaching sometimes, and some people are very angry when they're practicing.
no. The crack with Irish audiences is I'm like, everybody hates me. And then after, like, that's great. And I was like, well, you could have told your face like that during the class and give me something. Maybe it's up north in the history of the Troubles too. I'm like, you have to give me something. Something,
Yeah.
let me know you're alive, something's happening. Some people, and I think that is just that history of don't show any emotion.
Yeah, like probably. But I guess it's also like that in Dublin as well.
It must be just an Irish thing.
Yeah, it's just an Irish thing.
Yeah, don't feel emotions, don't recognize them, just pretend they don't exist.
Yeah, and do you ever get your classes that where there's complete silence after them? Are usually actually the ones where like people have felt the most moved because they don't want to talk at the end.
And I love that. I love the sacredness of that, and like the space of no words.
Yeah, I think it's a good sign, but I definitely remember starting out as a yoga teacher. That was something I had to learn. Like, okay, silence is good. Angry faces is also okay.
Yeah.
It's just focus.
Yeah, I think especially with me, I remember wanting everybody to be happy. And my teacher, Mark Craig, who teaches in Studio 52, he's like, Carla, you need to let that go. And he's brilliant because it's really sticking to who you want to be as a teacher and what you want to offer, and it be your creation rather than trying to please everybody, because that's just the road to nowhere.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and the intention behind what you're offering that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think also like yoga brings up so many emotions in everyone. Like someone might feel very sad at the end of your class, and that's just how they're meant to feel because of the practice, and that's okay.
Have you not burst out crying?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
I've been that sad girl plenty of times.
Yeah, geez, you don't know what the hip openers can bring out. Like I sometimes get so angry, like in a rage because I actually never feel angry. No, sometimes I do. I get angry at a few things when I think about, like, of course, like Donald Trump and stuff at the moment, and the corruption in the world. Like that makes me angry, but then there's nothing to do with that emotion. But in my daily life, I don't get angry at anything. You know, if someone did something bad to you, some people get angry.
Well, that's my first go-to.
Yeah, if someone did something bad to me, I'd be like, "Aw."
I'd be like, what?
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I think maybe that emotion gets bottled in me. So when I do these hip openers, it's like rage just comes up.
I think it's always what we avoid or what we repress without even realizing it always comes up. Like fear would be one for me.
Wow. Fear doesn't come up for me in yoga. I don't think so. I don't know. What do you mean fear?
In breathwork, my one of the first breathwork classes that I practiced. So I was breathing away, conscious breathing, and the next thing I was like, I feel really, really warm. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sweating. I was like, oh my God, I feel panicky. I was like, I feel scared. Like, and it was like these slow, like I was clicking on and I was like, this is what fear feels like. I was like, but I realized like there was nothing in the room I was afraid of, but it was just my body completing something. Yeah, and then it passed. But yeah, I really noticed that in that moment I was petrified.
It's so interesting, the human experience. Like, we can feel so many things. And then I guess it's so interesting how yoga teaches us that, like, just because you're feeling this thing doesn't mean you are this thing. And we're actually nothing. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we become so over-identified with parts, right? You know, and our stories and what happened to us, and it's just creating some space that, yeah, these experiences did shape us, and we have adaptations from them. But yeah, but things can always change, and I really sticks with me that like becoming over-identified.
Yeah, I think it's a really good practice of mindfulness to like recognize I'm angry. I'm actually just feeling angry. I'm feeling, and then you're like, I'm aware of my feeling. Like, I'm aware. I'm awareness.
Yeah.
In the Irish language, a lot of the ways you would describe feeling and emotion would be like tá áthas tá farg tá brown which means like anger is on me, happiness is on me, sad, and it's like it's on you, but it's not like you can leave.
Whereas that's the problem with the English language is I am sad.
Yeah.
I am anxious. And rather than saying I am feeling sad, just creating some space can help so much.
Yeah, and language is such a powerful tool. So it definitely probably does impact how people then identify with that emotion.
Yeah, and language is so revealing to how we really feel about things and how we're perceiving things. It's just so interesting what can come up. Thank you so, so much. We've actually never met in person. We just met through Wellfest, and yeah, I loved your energy. And then we've been following each other on Instagram, and then I reached out and asked you to come on the podcast, and now I'm in your house and we went for a swim.
That's how it happens. No, as soon as I saw Carla today, I literally just felt like I already knew you. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, no, that is a good sign. It just shows you the power of being into yoga, and Instagram has good things to it.
Definitely. It's a great platform when we use it properly. But thank you so much for having me on, and I hope everybody enjoys.
And no, yeah, definitely check out Naoise's Instagram. Also, she has a 10 free. Is it beginner friendly, the challenge?
Yeah. It's a YouTube challenge. It's for free, 10-day yoga journey for beginners.
Yeah, so definitely get on that. And we should all go. Let's organise something and we'll all go to one of her events. And maybe you should come to Belfast then, do your techno yoga. I have the perfect venue for you.
Yeah, I will. People have said that to me before, so maybe I'll see you all in Belfast soon.
Yeah, no, that'll be great. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I will see you all next week.